What's up, y'all? It's Shuffle, and today's video is talking about Grave Robber, who is one of my favorite characters just in the series. Actually, she is my favorite character, but we're going to talk about her in Darkest Dungeon 2 because I think she needs some help. So we're going to dissect what's wrong with her, like the issues I think that she has, and then we're going to talk about maybe some solutions. And before we get started, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, all that cool stuff. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Check out the helpful links in the description box. I said that backwards, but there you go. So Grave Robber, like I said, one of my favorite characters, is my favorite character. And in this game, her core issues are that her damage isn't stellar. You know, her damage is okay. It takes a lot of work to get her damage out compared to someone like Hellion that can just hit Howling End and do a boatload of damage for no effort. She is the fastest character in the game, I believe, at 8 speed. And her damage moves that aren't her dance moves, so Pick to the Face, Throw Dagger, Poison Darts, require combo. Since she's faster than everyone else, no one can set combo for her reliably, so she can't get her damage until turn 2. So this character just always feels like she's a turn behind where she needs to be, compared to someone like Hellion, or Leper, or Highwayman, right? Those characters feel like they're where they're supposed to be at every turn of the fight. Grave Robber feels like she's a turn slower, unless you just spam Poison Darts, which I don't think anyone wants this character to just be Poison Dart spam, but that's kind of what she is at this point. If you want her to be the like easiest use to like highest return type of playstyle. So she can't get big damage rolling until turn 2 or 3. Her tank setup is a bit clunky, and she has a lot of self-sustain, but Dead of Night is a cool move. Not usable on bosses. Because just the nature of bosses, they don't leave corpses behind for you to eat, or whatever you're supposed to do at Dead of Night. So this just doesn't matter, and having massive amounts of self-sustain is best used on bosses, which you can't do. So I'm not a huge fan of that. And then getting into stealth is a chore. So repartee we'll talk about in a bit. The easiest way into stealth is Shadow Fade, and Shadow Fade is not good. It's just not a good move this time around. It was an okay move before in the first game because it gave you enough of a damage bonus that it almost offset the turn that you spent using it, but it doesn't do that in this game. It just straight up doesn't. It just gives you no damage unless you actually ignore defenses with lunge. That's about it. So the other issue is, do you want to Shadow Fade into repartee? You're tanking out of rank 3 at that point, and that is not where you want to tank from. You want to tank from rank 1 or rank 2, usually 2. So you can't do that. Or at least you can't tank reliably. So those are the initial concerns, but we're going to talk about each move individually, and we're going to try and propose some solutions for them. So Pick to the Face. This ignores block, which is cool. I wish it had some kind of like block destruction. That'd be nice, but this move is okay. Like, the more I play with it, this move is okay. My main issue with it is that this happens with a lot of Grave Robber's moves, is when you take combo tokens, you want it to do something very good when you take them. So Leper ignores blind with combo. That's fantastic. Highwayman can get riposte charges off of shooting someone with combo. That's great. Who else uses combo? There are a lot of stun moves off of combo. Those are cool. And stun, understandably, has a chance to fail, so that's why it's okay where it's at. But every other thing that interacts with combo is like a guarantee, except for damage over time effects. But honestly, you have ways to lower enemy resistances, especially with like trinkets, or in the case of like Plague Doctor, or someone that gets, you know, chance to penetrate resist by using combo tokens. Like minus 30 is enough to bring most enemies down to 0, unless you're in the fetter or whatever the enemy is specifically resistant to your type, you know. So like bleed, whatever for tangle, blight for fetter, and then like burn for sprawl, just as an example, right? So those are understandable. But Grave Robber's like the only character that uses combo, and her chances to do things are still like around half, like a little over half, like 60%. The only other one that isn't like just absolutely very low chance to crit from these combo tokens is Throw Dagger, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll talk about Throw Dagger in a minute. So, pick to the face, it really just needs a small damage bump. I would like it if it was just guaranteed crit. I understand why it wouldn't be. But it feels like Red Hook made it so her damage ranges are just huge because they want you to crit. For those of you who are unaware, when you crit in this game, you are guaranteed to roll your max damage plus, I believe, 50% on top of that. So this pick to the face would crit for 15 instead of like 12 or whatever. You know, unless they have like some other things like weak going on, for instance. So the reason your damage ranges are very low on, or like very big between these moves, is because they want you to crit with them. They want you to stack crit, but you can't stack crit reliably in this game. So all these moves just need their damage ranges like bumped up a little bit or a little tighter. So like pick to the face should, at least an upgrade, be like 5 to 10. I don't understand why it's 4. Throw Dagger, is that it for pick? I think that is, right? Ignoring block is okay. There are a few fights where it's useful, like when you fight the cannon and stuff, or Shambino, I believe, gets block tokens on the clappers. So those can be okay. So otherwise it just really needs the damage bump. And maybe like 5 crit, you know, just why not? Give it 5 more crit. Just put it up to 20 baseline. Throw Dagger is a mess. So this move ignores dodge when you are in stealth, and like why would you spend your stealth turn doing 3 to 7 damage or 3 to 5 damage? The other issue here is it ignores guard, which is cool, you know, probably when more enemies are introduced and guard becomes more common, then this will be better. But the same thing as before, the damage range is too low. The crit chance is massive when it's upgraded, but the issue is, why do you want to ignore guard and get like big crit damage off a combo token if the enemy is guarded and you cannot set the combo token? You see what I'm saying? Like, Grave Robber can get the first hit out in the fight, and that's fine. But if the enemy afterwards is able to guard something from you, you can't set the combo with that person. So doing all of this other stuff just doesn't matter after that. And why would I do 3 to 7 damage when I have poison darts, which is almost the same damage? Especially upgraded. Like, Throw Dagger, you know, without the dodge and the guard pen and stuff like that, it's 3 to 5. What is it? And then we have poison darts, where if the blight sticks, just baseline, right? 3 to 5 baseline is all it does with 15 crit. And if poison darts sticks, it does 4 to 6, and then does 2 more damage, and then does 2 more damage after that. And then that's not even to mention when it gets upgraded. When poison darts gets upgraded, its damage just blows Throw Dagger away. Like, there's almost no point to running this move because poison darts exists in its current iteration. So this just needs some damage. Like, this needs to be, it looks like it's based off Highwayman, who with pistol shot. But Highwayman gets riposte off combo from pistol shot, I believe only upgraded. But also, Highwayman has other ways to have damage going out constantly. Highwayman can take aim, Highwayman can riposte. So his damage is just constantly going out during the course of the fight. Throw Dagger is like balanced around pistol shot, but it's not considering the rest of the kit that's happening. And Throw Dagger could just be like 4 to 7, 4 to 8. I don't know, right? Or at least upgraded. So it's, or just give him more crit, right? You can always just give him more crit and stack it up. I don't see why not at this point. Flashing Daggers continues to be like the worst move in the series. So in Darkest Dungeon 1, the worst moves were like Toxin Trickery, Flashing Daggers, both those were on Grave Robber. It's been a while since I played DD1, besides that one time, so I can't remember exactly what other moves are just absolutely bad. Zealous Accusations, right? But Flashing Daggers was bad in that game, and it's very bad in this game. And I think that, especially with Highwayman having something called Double Tap, I think it would be really good if Flashing Daggers just hit twice. It could stay the same that it's at now, just let it hit twice. And if it could hit twice, it could ping off a bunch of tokens and then still get some damage. And that would be kind of cool. That'd be some utility for this move. So, I don't know. But I would kind of like that. Let's see. But otherwise, Flashing Daggers needs help. It's bad. It's very, very bad right now. Poison darts, this move is fine. This move is about the power level that I wish the rest of Grave Robber stuff is at. It starts off pretty moderate in terms of damage, but it's consistent, and damage over time is powerful in this game because checking Death Blow, being able to do damage under block, or when enemies put up defenses like dodge, you can still do damage, and that's nice. That helps you close out kills. And then once it's upgraded, you know, you get that comp or that crit chance. So Poison Darts is good. This move is good. It hits it hits everything from almost everywhere, and I don't think this needs to change. Absinthe got the nerf it needed. I think Absinthe is good. I think it's in a great spot. Dead of Night is a fantastic move. It's just not good on bosses. And I guess it's okay to have some moves that are just dead buttons on bosses, because you do have to fight a bunch of road fights and stuff like that to, you know, beat the game. So it's okay there. I guess it can stay as is. I actually expect this to maybe get nerfed in terms of the HP gain, because it's pretty powerful right now. But I would like it if she had a way to get into stealth that didn't require Shadow Fade moving her back or a body. I don't know how this move can change to do that. Like, she might need something else instead, or just take the stealth requirement off repartee. Taking the stealth requirement off this move would just streamline everything, but we'll talk about that later. But Dead of Night, actually a very good move. Let's see, Glint in the Dark. This should have Omni Reach, so you should be able to hit everything from everywhere with this move because it's so weak. The damage on it is so weak. And the let's see, for this, like, it's only really good against enemies that get unyielding. Like, you don't need Death Blow penetration that often. Like, you'd think lair bosses, but it's not for lair bosses. Lair bosses, you could stack damage over time and then just hit them like 4 times when they're at death's door, and you'll get through it eventually. Like, no boss is surviving more than like 4 attacks at death's door. It just doesn't happen. So you have Glint in the Dark. So what's that make it good for at that point? It makes it good for enemies that have unyielding, and that means they have to have Death Blow resist to start, but it doesn't penetrate enough on its own. So what you need is to stealth and kill something with it. The issue with that is you never know when you're going to run into unyielding enemies. That's the modifier that gives them 33% Death Blow resist. I probably should have said that to start, but you never know when you're going to run into that. You never know when that modifier is going to pop up, and you never know if the enemy mash is going to have enemies that take advantage of that. Sorry, I had to step away for a moment, so we're going to just try and recap this here. So the big issue is that Glint in the Dark cannot hit rank 4. This was the issue that stealth removal moves had in the first game, is the rank 4 is the move, or the position that you want to be able to hit with stealth removal, and you can't do it. So it would be nice if this could hit everything, and it needs to do like more damage or something. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how to save this move, honestly, because penetrating DBR is nice, but you don't need to do it that often. And then you also have to be able to plan that you're going to go into stealth and then use Glint in the Dark, and the enemy is going to be at death's door. I guess this actually helps with Shadow Fade with the speed thing. So you could Shadow Fade, get Glint in the Dark. Actually, if you Shadow Fade into 4, you can't even do it. Oh god. You have to be in rank 1 to Shadow Fade into 3, or you have to like Dancer back up to 3. Oh my goodness. It's there's some issues here. This definitely needs to be like hit everything from everywhere. That's like the big change this needs. Okay, lunge. Lunge is okay. I actually have a run that I uploaded a few days ago over the holiday break where I ran a lunge team, and it's okay. The issue is, again, the damage range. Like, I cannot think of an enemy, character besides Leper that has a damage range that big. And it makes sense for Leper. Leper's always had it, but Leper's minimum is much higher too. Well, it's only 2 points higher, but that's still okay. And this is This is almost like 3 times the range. That's pretty outside the normal for Darkest Dungeon. Like usually your damage range is like double. So for example, right, 4 to 8, that's a pretty normal damage range. Highwayman goes from like 4 to 8 to 6 to 9. I think Hellions got like 4 to 7 or something, then 6 to 8. Like lunge is a move that requires setup or some kind of plan to get you into position or have Grave Robber dancing around, and it does the same damage as Wicked Hack essentially. This just needs more. It needs more damage. The crit rate being 30 is okay. I'm actually okay with that, but this needs to be like 6 to 12 or something, you know? Or I mean, you could go 7 plus, like 7 to 14, like that would be cool. And then start it at 6 to 12, like that'd be okay. Like for something that you have to invest in terms of like tempo, so you have to spend time setting it up or fixing your team, this doesn't do enough damage. The only thing that is kind of a save for it that's actually pretty cool is actually the recent balance patch that buffed Deacons. And so if you're able to do what I was doing that run, and that's get Grave Robber a trinket where she can go into stealth on turn 1, you can lunge the cherubs and try and crit them and kill them from there. That's okay. Otherwise, as it is now, it just needs more damage. And it would actually... I'll save this thought, right? It's for Shadow Fae, but you can probably guess what it is. But this just needs more damage. The crit's fine. The effects are okay. I wish it destroyed defensive tokens, because, you know, you lunge past, or you lunge into an enemy and you ignore dodge and block and stuff like that, and that's all great, but then your team still has to deal with dodge and block afterwards. Not as good as it could be. Pirouette. I like this move at first, but the more I play with it, I actually don't like it that much. And the reason I don't like it too much is Pirouette gets beat by a lot of things pretty easily. There are size, like big enemies, so we call them size 2, so any enemy that takes multiple spaces on the enemy's field, Pirouette just does almost nothing to them. You're better off hitting pick to the face. Certain enemies can just get defensive tokens up quickly, or they start with them. Like, what is it? Some of the cultist enemies start with dodge. In the Tangle, this move is just bad because the frontliners are often foot soldiers that start with block. And then the Sprawl, some of the enemies, I think I forget what it is, like the tall one that can hit like rank 4 and stuff like that. I forget what that dude's called, but that one starts with dodge. So Pirouette kind of loses to a lot of things, and all you get for it is a dodge token, and you daze yourself. I don't feel like this should daze yourself. Like, why do we have a character that can go into stealth and give herself speed, and then we also have her daze herself? Like, what's the natural follow-up to Pirouette? It's lunge, right? Unless you just Pirouette into throwing daggers or something like that, or darts or something. But usually if you're running Pirouette, you probably want to run lunge too. That's just like how you want to play the character. You just want to dance build, so I understand that. So going into Pirouette doesn't give you stealth. You go back and then you lunge afterwards, and you're last. For like mediocre damage. Like, let's say you Pirouette and then lunge the same target. Between the two moves, you're doing 10 to 19 damage for 2 turns and dazing yourself. Howling End just hits for a boatload without upgrades. I only have to upgrade 1 move. Oops. If I wanted to go that route. And Grave Robber just doesn't deal with it, man. Or just doesn't do it well enough. This could have more damage. For a move that has cooldown, for an effect that's this low, with that low of a crit and stuff like that, and it dazes you, this could do more damage. Also, this move kind of goes in the face of everything else that she has going on besides flashing daggers and poison dart, where this has a very consistent damage range. Everything else she has, I guess glint in the dark too, but pick to the face, throw dagger, lunge specifically, upgraded, have very huge damage ranges, and Pirouette doesn't. This kind of goes against the crit stacking idea with this character. Repartee. Otherwise, I do think Pirouette's okay. I don't know. I would like it to have more damage. I wrote that it's okay in my notes, but upon further inspection, like, lose the days on this, and that'd be okay. The issue with repartee is you can't get into stealth easily. You can't do it on turn 1 without a trinket or a quirk. And if you try and use Shadow Fade into repartee, means you go into rank 3 to taunt from, and as I said before, that's not a good spot to tank from as a character. And if you're already spending Shadow Fade to get repartee, and then you have to use like a second character's turn to move, like either like use Play Out with Jester or Battle Ballad or something like that to push your team around to get her into rank 2, that's too much investment for 2 taunt tokens and a defensive thing. Leper and Hellion and Man-at-Arms are way better at this. They have self-sufficiency. Man-at-Arms can stack a ton of block. He also has a heal at Death's Door. Leper can heal himself. Hellion can heal herself with 2 different moves and like follow-up attacks that heal her because of Adrenaline Rush. They're way better at tanking than Grave Robber because they can just get their taunt up. They don't have to move. Well, they can move, but they don't have to do it. They don't have to have some other prerequisite like going into stealth. They just hit the button. Grave Robber doesn't get to do that. So it's not as good as the other dedicated tanks, and I guess that's okay because you don't think of Grave Robber as a tank, but if you're going to give her moves like this so she has some kind of dodge tank kit, then it needs to be easier to pull off compared to other tanks because it's not right now. So if you don't want to use Shadow Fade to get into repartee because you don't want to be in rank 3 to do it, you have to use Dead of Night. And the earliest that you can use repartee if you are planning to use Dead of Night is turn 3. Because as I said before, she is so fast that she's going to go first on turn 1. You have to hit something, and then the rest of your team has to kill something. And then start of turn 2, she has to Dead of Night. So she goes into stealth and stops taking damage, even though she has a tank kit, you know, from like these 3 moves. And then start of turn 3, you can use repartee. And so 1 or 2 enemies are dead at that point, and you can tank if you want. It's like a lot of the danger is a bit lower, but it's still nice to tank when there's like 2 enemies just to draw fire because, you know, there's only like 2 attacks. So I guess it's okay there, but the issue is you can't do this until like halfway through a fight. And the same thing goes with the boss fights. Like this is too slow for boss fights. Like with most boss fights, you want to have consistent damage going out. There are mechanics you have to deal with when you're fighting bosses, and doing Shadow Fade, you can't use Dead of Night in bosses either. We talked about this, so you have to Shadow Fade into repartee. Shadow Fade into repartee, spending 2 turns to tank against bosses is too slow, and it does essentially nothing. The best thing about this is actually it gives her 3 stacks of dodge. Who cares about the taunt at that point? But if you just want to get dodge from something, just hit Absinthe. Like these 2 moves step on each other's toes quite a bit. Like I could just hit this for 3 dodge and keep myself alive instead of hitting this after I go into stealth. So I think the best way to make use of this is to just get rid of the stealth requirement. As fun as it is, as cool as it is, well, it's not fun, that's why I'm not praising it, but the idea is cool. I understand the intent. It just doesn't work in the current state of the game, I feel like. And then we come last to Shadow Fade. Shadow Fade doesn't actually need much. People are saying like crit token and strength token, this and that. That would be nice if it had those things. They're saying like dodge token on top. Just I've seen all kinds of stuff for this move. Sorry about that. Echo wanted a hug. He came in yelling at me. So as I was saying, this you can do a lot of things to this move, but what it really just needs is a strength token. You could give it crit, that'd be fun, but it just needs strength. Preferably strength baseline, not Shadow Fade plus to give you strength. And the reason I really advocate for this is because other characters in the game, I refer to them as like 2-turn characters. And this game isn't like Darkest Dungeon 1, where you hit your highest value move every single turn and kill things. Like in DD1, like Hellion, for example, would be Iron Swan once, maybe twice, then if it bleeds, and then Wicked Hacker bleed out, and that's your 4-turn fight. Like, you're just doing the biggest amount of damage you can per turn. And that's not how this game plays. This game really rewards you for setting your characters up, getting rid of enemy defenses, stacking your offensive tokens, and then just hitting something really hard. That is what this game benefits from. That's kind of how it wants you to play, it feels like. And so, Shadow Fade having strength would make Grave Robber into a very streamlined 2-turn character, at least offensively. And as an example of this, let's look at, let's look at everyone, right? Let's look at Occultist. If you want to do big damage with Occultist, you can use Chaotic Offering and then Burning Stars. And that's big damage. For some reason, this gives you combo too, which is fantastic. You could hit our Abyssal Artillery twice. You can use Firestarter on top of this and then just, cleave for a bunch of damage and fire, which is cool. But that's just one example. Hellion. Hellion's a 2-turn character. Howling End, toe-to-toe upgraded, which means you get rid of Winded. So it's just Howling End, toe-to-toe, Howling End, toe-to-toe. 2-turn character. Iron Man's the same way. Take aim, hit something. Take aim, hit something. Man at Arms is a 1-turn character. It's spam Retribution Plus over and over. But characters that are very strong offensively can do it over the course of 2 turns. Grave Robber's whole thing is it feels like she needs 3 turns, or she has like a very suboptimal turn 1, and then someone else has to set her up, and then she has to do her damage. Like I was saying before, these combo tokens, these are better spent on other heroes and not Grave Robber. Like, it's more, you get more stuff out of giving your combo tokens to Leper, or who else has one? Like Stunning with a stun move or something like that. There's just more things to do with their combo tokens than give Grave Robber some crit. But Shadow Fade would streamline the kit so much because it would give her a very consistent thing to be doing. You could Shadow Fade. Like, there are ways to play Shadow Fade. You can put her in rank 1, Shadow Fade into 3, hit pick to the face for big damage, and then have, like, for instance, Runaways in front of her, and then Runaway Dragonflies, and then falls into rank 3, and then Grave Robber's back in 2, and then you can Shadow Fade again. And you could set things up with that. You could use Duelist Advance to move past her and put her back into rank 3, or whatever you're trying to do. There are a lot of things you can do around Shadow Fade being a 2-turn clock type of thing. The other thing too is this giving you strength would fix the damage on pretty much everything that she needs. So you could Shadow Fade and Glint in the Dark. So if you just want to do damage with it and ignore DBR, suddenly you're doing 6 to 9. That's okay. If you want to Shadow Fade into pick to the face, your teammate sets combo, which is how this game is supposed to be played. It feels like where you're setting up your offense. So you Shadow Fade, get combo, punch through block. You have 6 to 15 damage at that point, and a bunch of crit. That's pretty cool. Throw Dagger cannot be redeemed. I'm sorry. Poison Dart doesn't really need the damage bump, but Lunge is another one. Lunge hitting for 6 to 17 or whatever it is. I would press that. That would be a good move. So I think the majority of this character gets fixed by this move having strength. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I don't know. Like, I know a couple mod people in the community. Maybe I'll talk to one of them about it. But if this just gave strength, I feel like it would fix a lot of things. Crit would be nice. It doesn't need crits. It needs strength. 1 token to start, 2 to upgrade. Because I don't think anyone has like a really good source of strength, do they? Like, a lot of strength tokens come from allies hitting you with something. So like Emboldening Vapors, Battle Ballad, those are 2 I can think of offhand. I think Leper can give himself strength off Revenge, right? So there are a couple ways to get strength, but it would be nice if she can just give herself strength from this. I think that would fix some issues. 2 tokens would be sweet. Doesn't need 2 tokens, but 2 tokens, 2 strength tokens off this upgraded would actually give you some pretty good wiggle room. Like, you could like Shadow Fade and then Lunge to get through something's defenses, and then just pick to the face for big damage and finish it the next turn, right? Or Throw Dagger. I don't know. But yeah. So long story short, the combo tokens don't feel great for this character. Flashing daggers, just not good. Dead of Night, dead button on bosses. Pirouette loses to a lot of things in the current game. Lunge, the damage range is massive for like the little payouts. Like upgrading this and hitting for 4 is one of the worst feelings in this game right now. And the repartee is cool, but it's just too slow. It's too slow for what you want to do with it. And it's literally 0 tempo to hit this move. Like, this keeps you alive, right? There's something there. This is 0 tempo pressing this. Because at least with other taunt moves, you're doing other things. Like I said, with Hellion, toe-to-toe, she gets rid of Winded. And she gets 3 taunt tokens. That's massive. Leper has self-heal, so if he gets beat up, he can just heal himself. It's fine. And then Man-at-Arms gets Riposte off his taunt, so it's just really bad with her. But that's it for this one. Let me know if there are any other characters you want me to take a look at. I think I'll get to all of them at some point. I just want to see if the December update is at this point. Maybe some of these issues will get fixed then. Who knows? But I'm going to put this video out now. So, yeah. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Check out the links, all that stuff. And thanks for watching. Not sure what else is coming up next. I'm going to upload a Man-at-Arms run that I did where I tried to use that block stack move, which was pretty fun. So we'll do that too. And Ruin King, all that other stuff. So thanks for watching. See you next time.